start with public safety. And once again, I'm going to talk bridge. I'm going to talk the delays and the impact to our town residents. Once again, Ridley Park is being asked to suffer through yet another series of delays. The reasons are a collective amount of excuses, from labor shortfalls to electrical line delays. We had hoped that when we were told that July 1st would be the opening date, that it would in fact happen, just in time for our town's 4th of July weekend events. In the end, this was false. We are inching to the finish line. The new opening date is September 1st. We as in Ridley Park officials should not take our foot off the gas on this until the new bridge is open. The fountain. Delays and impact to the town are inconceivable. Hopefully the borough engineer has some positive news in this regard. I'm going to talk traffic studies. All right, we've been in the throes of many traffic studies throughout the borough. We're working with residents on solutions. Many of these streets are heavily impacted by the bridge being out. So there's so much traffic being pushed around that some of these normally quiet streets are just getting massacred. Huge signs are all over the center of town. These 4-foot by 8-foot signs are everywhere. I'm going to ask the borough engineer to drive our town. Use Sellers Avenue as an example. There are 14 of these 4-foot by 8-foot signs on a 700-foot section of this particular street. Some of the signs are in clusters of 3. Can these be reviewed? And some of them removed. They repeat themselves on their way out of hand. In fact, if you take a look in the business district, to the left, there's a huge sign, the same sign. It's blocking the sidewalk and it says, you can't walk on the sidewalk. Now, we know we need to walk on the sidewalk through the center of town, through the business district. But yet there's a sign. All right, next I'm going to talk Memorial Day. And give you a little recap. What a great day for Ridley Park. Our keynote speaker was Kirk Handler, a proud 7th-generation military service member. Kirk has devoted more than 28 years to serving the United States of America and defending the freedoms we hold dear. His distinguished military career reflects an extraordinary commitment to duty, honor, and our country. Spanning service in the U.S. Navy, U.S. Air Force, and currently serving with the Delaware State National Guard. Demonstrating unwavering dedication to our country. This man lives amongst the neighbors right here in Ridley Park on Henderson Avenue with his family. Just a tremendous family, tremendous human being. Was very proud of that day. Next, I'm going to talk junior counselor, which I've been hammering away on for the last 2 months. Well, we moved it forward and we made our selection. Gabe Walgren will be sworn in at our July meeting. He will assume the role of Ridley Park Junior Counselor for 2 years. I'm looking forward to working with Gabe on a host of projects, but he will bring his own ideas to the role. Extremely excited. Great things happening on the junior counselor front. He's going to help and, as he put it, be my wingman. Nice. All right. So, Gabe will do his thing. All right, then I'm gonna talk a little bit, of course, Ridley Park Athletic Club. Baseball and softball is coming to an end. We will be gearing up for fall baseball and softball, getting into the heart of our wiffle ball season. We have signups going on now for tackle football, flag football, field cheerleading, competition cheerleading. We also have our own Challenger League flag football. And I'm extremely proud to announce our second season with our running club for boys and girls. So all the families should go onto the Ridley Park AC website, sign up your kids now. So much good stuff going on at the club. Finally, I'm going to push a little bit on our 250th year. I've been talking to banners, yard signs. Things are going well. Would like another strong push. Remember, $50 gets you a full banner with your family name on it if you choose. If not, a yard sign for $25. Show your spirit, show your Parker pride, right? This is the way it happens. I want to shout out also Dermatology Partners, which opened a new office in the Jones Building in May. They will be our first $1,000 business partner for the fireworks on July 4th. And we want to welcome them to the community. I could go on and on, but I will pass the mic to Evan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Definitely a lot of great things to look forward to, and very excited to work with any sponsors we get, partnerships, as well as our junior counselor. Definitely echo what you said about Memorial Day. It was a really incredible celebration, very resounding. So with that, we will go ahead and move on to committee reports. I would start off with Councilor Taggart. He's not here tonight, so I believe Councilor Boyce has his report to read.
Alright, thank you. Let's see, for zoning classes, we are setting them up for September. No funds have been handed over, since we do not know how much the county's gonna chip in. The county said that they won't pay for the classes, it's, was $110 per person, but the county said that they'll, foot the bill, majority of the bill for us. We already have 20 people signed up, we're looking for a class of 20. We're picking September 16th, 23rd, and 30th for the dates. And most of the folks on it is, I don't know how many council members, but myself and, planning commission. It's gone out to HARB and, what is it? Zoning, yes. They're the folks that are doing this class. Let's see, next we'll be checking on the committees to see where they are at on suggestions and changes. This is back to the fee schedule and whatnot. So he's still trying to, I'm helping him collect information on that. As of today, he still hasn't seen any updates, from the highway department. This is a long overdue, and we need to move on with this. And the rest will fall under, I think, council business for him. So I'll read that when we get to council business.
Thank you very much. And so we'll move right on from that into communications with Councilor Boyce.
Mine's easy. So we decided to sunset, not the right word, but the telecom and cable TV just for the summer months, so there's no movement on that. The Historic Commission, we're meeting tomorrow night as scheduled, and that's it for my report. I got things for council business as well, so we'll wait for that. That's it.
Awesome, thank you very much, Councilor Boyce. Any comments or questions? None? All right, so we'll move on to Parks and Properties with Councilor McGinley.
Good evening, everybody. I'll lead off with, we had the recycle event on the 9th of May, and we got our numbers. We were able to hand over just under 3,000 pounds of material. So great job by the residents getting that stuff out of here, and like I said, it's a great company we work with, and like I said, we'll do it again next year, and maybe next year we'll even kind of collaborate with Township now that we're kind of having this relationship, and maybe give people an opportunity to company that was, I believe, the lowest bid. Like I said, we need to get these things done, and it looks like we're heading in that direction. Also on the agenda, there's a few different, I know there's the land donation, hoping to get that's moving along. I can't thank Danielle enough, Trish and Ron, as far as getting that moving along. Hopefully, we can finalize that and get that, in this little area as you enter Ridley Park. Maybe something, like I said, the goal there is to have signage, a welcome sign, and I think just anytime we can take something that might be considered a little bit of an eyesore and make it much better, it's a good thing. We have several block parties, obviously, that we're looking to get approved, and I'll have some new business to possibly add on to that. The last thing I want to comment on, if you see at the very end, there's a permit request for the Dummers to put a lower ball field. I don't know if everybody remembers, this is the same group that does the parade right after New Year's around town. They do some incredible charitable work. If you get a chance to go out and see this thing, whenever they're doing an event, they're looking to provide an event down there from 11 to 7, I believe it's a kickball event.
Yep.
They do phenomenal stuff. It's fun. They make it fun. It's charity with personality. I mean, it's really I'm proud that they choose to use our town as a landmark for most of their events. And like I said, I can't say enough about that. And with that, it's my report.
Thank you very much, Councilman McGinley. Anybody have any comments or questions? All right, we will then move on to community affairs with Councilor Viera.
Thank you, Madam President. And if we could start with the library, Kate.
All right, so we've got lots of great stuff going on this summer at the library. We went to the last First Friday. Rosemary is sponsoring our visits this summer. So each First Friday, we're going to be passing out free books for kids. We have crafts. Ridley the dinosaur was there running up and down the street. So we'll be there again on July 3rd. The storms last Sunday had a tree come down behind the library. We also had significant flooding in the basement again from that storm. The fallen tree took down our internet cable, so the library is currently without internet. We do have Wi-Fi, which I guess they're different services. So we're operating everything off of Wi-Fi, but our public computers don't work and the staff computers are not working at the moment. We're waiting for the county to repair that. Summer reading tracking begins this Friday. Children can earn prizes, and we also are doing a raffle for teens and adults for every day you read. You track it, and then you get a raffle ticket for each day. And then you can enter to win a Brick House gift card, a chocolate therapy gift card, or a Walla gift basket. All prize winners also will receive a copy of this year's Ridley Park Reads title and a summer reading tote bag. We're hosting 2 paleontology pop-up programs with Edelman Fossil Park Saturday, July 18th, downstairs in the community room. The first session is for ages 3 and up. It introduces participants to the famous fossils found at the park. That's at 3 o'clock. Second session is for ages 12 and up, but really for all ages. That one's going to go into the history of the fossil park and some of the amazing things they've found. That's at 4 o'clock, also downstairs. Office of Commonwealth Libraries announced action grants, which can provide up to $10,000 for community-focused initiatives, including accessibility upgrades. The problem with that is that it cannot be used for construction or installation costs. But I think it would be a good idea for us to come up with something to put an application in for. The deadline is July 9th at noon, so that one is coming up quickly. And then finally, May statistics. Circulation was down by 3% from last month, 4% over 2025. Library visits were down by 10%, but adult program was up by 42%. Teen program attendance was also down. Public computer usage went up by 22%, but our Wi-Fi usage dropped by 88%. I think a lot of it has to do with the construction. We've been seeing a massive drop in visits, so I'm hoping once this reopens, we'll see a lot more familiar faces coming back.
Thank you very much. And we're going to go with record. very much. Kids love that phone party, by the way. Super exciting. That is all that I have, Madam President.
Thank you very much.
I have a question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, sir.
In reference to the library, why do we have to wait for the county to fix the library?
So the county provides our internet, so the borough is responsible for the Wi-Fi, and Comcast gives that to us for free. The county is required, as part of our contract with them, that they provide our internet for the staff, they provide all of our tech services.
Did they provide a timeline or?
They're working on it, but I was saying, I have to contact the county library, IT department who has to contact the county, IT department who has to contact the residents, so.
Is there any way to cut through the red tape, or it's just?
I'll have to contact, I've been in contact with
Sorry,
the county.
yeah.
We may be able, I'll talk to Katie after the meeting, we may be able to enable how the Wi-Fi works and maybe get their stuff back up and running. A lot of times it's stuff not plugging into all Wi-Fi, so we may be able to do that as well.
And then I'm gonna say that the phone party, I loved it, the flyer, I stole the idea. I'm doing it tomorrow night for the T-ballers, 6 teams at the middle school, just,
The kids,
Yeah.
it's so much fun.
right, excellent.
Super excited. Mr. Mayor, we want to see you in the phone pit over at the.
There you go.
over
And
at the-
somehow I'm being told I'm throwing out the first kickball pitch, or I don't even know.
We're
what
kicking the
they're
first
called.
kick?
So,
Nice.
we'll see what happens. Yeah.
That sounds very exciting. All right, any other comments or questions? All right, so next we would move on to community works with Counselor Harris. However, he wasn't able to be here tonight, so I actually have his report and his notes that he passed on to me. He just wanted me to mention that the first Friday and summer. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, just run it.
So the next First Friday and Summer Concert Series event held by the Business Association is going to be on July 3rd from 5 to 10 p.m. on Lee Ave. Again, it's a great event with fun for everybody, food trucks, vendors, live music. This one will be especially exciting considering it'll kick off a whole weekend of fun and celebration in Ridley Park, being the day before our July 4th / America 250 festivities. So if you can't make that date, however, there will also be First Friday events held in
municipalities, and it just all rolls into our lake, and just, it's like so heavily soaked with, you know, everyone's debris, so it's a tough thing. I just hope we're looking at ways to also dredge the lake, you know.
One hundred percent.
So the beginning balance for June was $4,129,939.15, with an ending balance of $3,610,360.16.
Sorry, I don't want to interrupt you. Except for May or June, because we should brief for last month, right?
That's for May.
Oh, you said June, you said June, I just want to make sure everybody was.
And, any comments or questions? All right, and, now we have the news on, which will be, Chief Thomas with
Good evening, everybody. Public safety report for the month of May for the police department. Call for service, 67, year to date, 1,334. Criminal arrests, we had 4 in May, bringing us up to 12. Prisoners, we held in cell, none, bringing us up to 3 for the year. Citations issued, we issued 14 traffic citations, bringing us up to 104 for the year. Non-traffic, 4, bringing us up to 16. Parking, 40, bringing us up to 149. Total citations
work for 6 months and just say it's time that we extend the borough manager's contract. You know, it's just time. I mean, think about this. We're gonna roll through the summer months, a lot needs to be done. Then we're gonna roll into budgeting and all that cycle and the work that needs to get done with that. And we need to put it to bed that we have a borough manager that can do the job. So hopefully council agrees with me and we work towards finalization of a contract for Trish. Please.
Thank you very much. And with that, we will head on to the solicitor's report with Ron.
Good evening. I don't have anything of particular note for council tonight. I do want to introduce Hannah Penrose, who's with me tonight. She's one of our summer associates, working with the law firm this summer. She's a law student at Widener, starting her third year of law school. And she's coming out to meetings like this to see what being a solicitor is all about. And she really wanted to come see what we do here at Ridley Park. With that, I will, pending any questions, that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Happy to have you. Any questions? Alrighty. So we will move right on to the engineer's report with Kelly.
Thank you, Madam President. I'll also give an update regarding the last 6 months, on various things that we've accomplished with the borough. Under the Sellers and Hinkley Avenue sewer project, we issued a punch list. For that project, the contractor is still working with PennDOT in order to complete some of those various punch list improvements. There's some of their equipment is blocking various areas where they need to complete these improvements. So once they move certain equipment, they'll be able to complete those punch list improvements. Under the Rosemont Avenue sewer project, this was funded by the CDBG. This project was substantially completed in 2025. There were originally about $30,000 in change order requests for that project. We were able to reduce that change order and work with the CDBG program to pay the change order. And we recommended final payment and close out for that project. Under the road program project, we did complete a bid package and successfully opened bids on June 8th. We received 2 bids from AF Damon and Moore Brothers. The base bid was in the amount of $105,680. The base plus alternate bid, which includes the entire length of hillside, that was in the amount of $192,705. And the base plus alternate 1 plus alternate 2 was in the amount of $247,500.
just have one. Kelly, the 7,000 that we mentioned that we have to use this year,
County.
what can that be used on?
So it can be used on basically anything liquid fuels related, so it can be used on road rehabilitation projects. There are a few other things you can use it on, I know like Pico Bills is one random thing that you can use it on. They have to be like lights that are along local streets though.
Another thing that just, it's not in your report, but it's, I know it's something we discussed, and maybe you're the best to facilitate this, is due to the long-term shutdown of the roads, especially the roads around there, a state highway being shut down, is there any way we can reach out to the contractors here for the bridge and just say, for the past almost year, Crestwell has been a state highway? Like basically the stretch of road from here to Ridley, and just see, would they be willing to pay for us? Like basically, like we had to divert all of the traffic that would normally go on a state roadway, and just see if they would just, hey, as a courtesy or maybe of like, sorry for all the delays, but we will take care of this stretch of Crestwell. I think it's a drop. You know, it's not, it's a drop for them. It's not that hard. So maybe, I don't know, between you or maybe Trish or somebody just saying, look, we had to handle a long-term project that probably didn't have to be as long as it was, but we appreciate that we're in a bridge and we're making progress. But once these roads open up, this road's going to be backed up from just all the people going down there, not to mention how many people lost mirrors and et cetera. But we just, at least if we get paid, then we can maybe approach all the other things. So just maybe if you can maybe put that on your radar and just see if they'd be willing, if they're at least willing to at least talk about it, come up with a plan, and maybe with some of the leftover liquid fuels, if they're willing to do half the cost, I think they need it all. But maybe with, you know, the combination of both of us, we can maybe get that done, because it definitely needs some attention.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
All right.
Conversation.
Appreciate it, thank you for the report, it was pretty in-depth, so thank you.
Yeah, on the signs that I mentioned, is there any way we can review these signs? Because again, what I'm thinking is, it's been so long, they've been pushed around. Just, if you look at it just with an open mind and try driving down that street, like I'm saying, you're gonna see clusters of 3, 4 of these huge signs on properties saying different things, just, it doesn't make sense for the most part. And then again, what I'm saying is in the business district, right now, by the clock, there's a large one of these signs off the little shimmy to the sidewalk saying that sidewalk is closed, which again, it is not, you know, it is not. People could walk down easily, it's around the other side that would be shut down. So again, I just feel it's just been so much for so long that it's just insane.
Yeah, I can certainly ask them about the signs as well.
I appreciate that.
They can draw it attention to that.
And then the CDCA sewer rehab project that's going on. Do we have any updates on that? When is it coming through Ridley Park? I'm seeing that it is starting in Ridley Township, so it's gonna come through Ridley Park soon before it gets to the end. We're at the end, but before it gets here, it's gonna come through Ridley Park. I wanna make sure the residents are made aware what's going on, and, it's just important, because their lives are gonna be impacted.
Yeah, I will reach out to them to get a schedule. I have reached out in the past to get a schedule for them, but I'll be
Okay.
able to more severe.
I appreciate that.
Just circle back to the 7,000, we can't use that for a motor for the, fountain, can we?
It's a motor.
It's a good try.
Give it a shot, you know, alright, thank you again.
Thank you very much. I also think
authorize the solicitor and the manager to enter into an agreement on behalf of the borough with Narberth EMS as required by that ordinance. So again, provided all that information in detail, but just ask for support with that as well. And then the last thing that I have for this evening is code related. As far as the code goes, I know our Sullivan Mill has gone back and forth, potentially asking Lynn Architect, who is our current code group, if there was a possibility they'd may be able to give us a number on expanding the services. I would ask that maybe we look to places other than Lynn Architect as well, because again, on their website, anybody can go to their website, they talk about how they don't do code enforcement. They do building code, they do permits, they do that kind of stuff. But as far as the stuff that we've talked about for numerous months here, the mayor is kind of championing quality of life issues. So trash, grass, snow, et cetera, like that. We currently don't have anybody that does that. So we did before, we don't now. Lynn doesn't provide that service. So to compare apples to apples for us and for the taxpayers, I think it would be good to get a couple different quotes on that same type of service, because with a few instances, the instance on Collier, right, that we had, where the feedback, and there's three sides to every story, but the feedback of, we took a ton of time to go through last year, and we changed code or added code at Ryan's request and Lynn Architect. And we did that to help out with the situation that we had, and he's not using it. So that defeats the purpose of everything that we did. We did all this, stuff with the solicitors and all this other stuff, and for him to tell the resident that, well, I can't use this because we're gonna use, it's the rules. There are rules that we came up with, so let's just look at, what's available out there,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think I spoke briefly with, Counselor Boyce a little bit to mention definitely looking at different avenues, just right now starting to look at costs and definitely not, keeping our head in one place in terms of the options that we have open. And I do definitely want to make it very clear though that that is a priority and will not fall by the wayside, especially with all of the kind of things that, like you said, Mayor Berger has mentioned with the tall grass, blighted properties, neglected properties, could be dumping, unpermitted work, lots of quality of life issues that could affect, the appearance, safety of the borough. So do definitely want to take that very seriously and look into what we can do.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
I have a few things, I do want to just agree with, Rich there that we definitely need to get somebody on board, so I agree with him there. One thing, I'm looking, and I'll have Trish read it off, we have a resident that would like to, have a block party on the 4th. They're nice enough to come be here tonight, but, I don't see any problem with us adding this, address to the agenda. I'll let Trish. Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to add this address to the action items. I don't know if we need to say anything else.
The address would be a driveway access to 427 West Road and 500 Montville Road. The resident did get, neighbors and their signatures, and they're all in approval of having this block party. It would actually be on the 4th of July from, I don't know if
Yeah, I would like to have a traditional barrier there just for liability reasons, so I think.
There you go, I like it, we can use some of the signs from the bridge,
It's on Bel Air between each one.
It's Bel Air and West and Bel Air and Montauk.
Sorry. Another thing I also wanna follow up with Mayor Berger, mentioned is, yes, I also agree, it's time we look to extend
do a lot of work. This is what makes Ridley Park truly a special place, right? They don't let go of our history. They got their eyes set on the Hancock Garage, that leads into Ridley Park Pool. Again, this is a, building that's really fallen into disrepair, and that's an understatement. I'm talking gaping holes and just really is in poor condition. Right now, highway department rather, uses it for certain things that can withstand, the weather. There's a few items in there from fire company, and they're gonna take a look at it. But, basically, the Historical Society is looking to go after some grants and bring that building back to life. And maybe this could be a possible home. They've always searched for where can they fall in the borough and not be a drag on our town in terms of occupying certain spaces. So right now, that's an area that's really, like a wasteland. So hopefully council will can support them in some way so that they could, get a grant and get that up off the ground. So that's fine.
Thank you very much. So just echo some things that were already said and circle back. I definitely think, as Councilor Boyce said, definitely a good idea to schedule some kind of date for review for the park improvement plans. I think that would be fantastic. It is a little bit of a lengthy read, but if you take it one step at a time, it's definitely got a lot of really good things to get to. Got a lot of good ideas, things that I think would be really good to take into consideration and have a discussion about. And I think definitely starting some conversations about, moving into the next year, definitely not a bad idea, be proactive. I think that's a good call. And also wanted to thank everybody for the hard work getting that intergovernmental agreement up and running. It's been a long time coming, and it has been a lot of hard work on part of Trish, Councilor Guerra, Danielle, Ron, getting that together and finally coming to the end point. It's definitely very exciting. So I want to thank everybody for hard work on that. And the only other council business I did have from Councilor Harris, just remembered, he mentioned maybe some interest with that land donation, if we could have some kind of, maybe a community garden or something like that would be a good idea. So that was his thought that he wanted to put on everybody's mind tonight. Beyond that, I think that's it for me. Alright. Well, with that, we will go ahead and close council business if nobody has anything. Alright, so we will.
I'm sorry, I was just gonna say, do we wanna amend the agenda to include that block party request?
Can we do that before public comment?
That's fine.
Alright, yeah, absolutely.
So I'll let, maybe Trish, can Trish read the address?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't have it.
We're passing it on. The address, where the barricades would be needed would be Bel Air Road. The location of barricades would be Bel Air and West and Bel Air and Bonsall. The streets that will be barricaded would be the driveway access to 427 West Road and 500 Bonsall Road. And that would be for the 4th of July. And the
ago, the vacant house next to mine, 312 North Swarthmore Ave, was sold to an LLC, who came in swinging chainsaws and took down a tree on our kids' swing set. And then 2 days later, took down another tree on our power line. We were without electric for the day in the winter. When I tried to say something, they yelled Pico at me. That same investor then painted their own parking spots in the street, and when the police shut them down, they poured gallons of paint thinner on it, to the point where a stream was running down the street. Shortly after that, they sold the house to another LLC. They didn't do anything to the house for 2 years. They let the grass grow 3 feet tall, created social media videos about what they were going to do to the house, and didn't do anything. So they turned around and sold it to a third LLC. The current owner now came in without a dumpster, no porta potty, tore the roof off. We had trash blowing down the street, numerous flat tires. As the kids were walking home from school, they would witness the workers peeing outside. We recently found out through several neighbors that the newest investor has been using the property as a short-term rental with 4 different Airbnb accounts. They even marketed it as a bed and breakfast. Since it's been pointed out, they now shut that down. But it just goes to show that they just don't care. I've been mostly patient for the last 4 years. Some people know I do a lot on social media, but I haven't been an ass. But and I'm very grateful for Trish. She's been very helpful with me this past year. Got me set up talking with the code enforcer, but I'll tell you, the code enforcer, he said, you know, Airbnb's just temporary while the investor finds tenants. For an 11-unit apartment building, a parking lot is optional. A dumpster is optional. So the plan, or lack thereof, is to have 20 to 30 additional cars parked on the street. Between trash and recycling bins, 22, maybe 30. Mayor, you mentioned a traffic study. I challenge anyone to visit Harrison Street, Ward Ave, and West Ridley Ave when the parents are dropping off or picking up their kids from the Presbyterian Church. How did we arrive at a place where what was once a single-family home became a 10 or 11-unit apartment building? How did we then allow that 10 or 11 unit apartment building that never should have been approved to be parking optional or dumpster optional? I've heard our borough wants to reduce requirements on building permits. I hope that's not true. I hear the borough wants to make it easier for these kind of nightmares to happen, and again, I hope that's not true. My wife and I are not opposed to short-term rentals. We own one in Alabama. Currently, Ridley Park has no rules on them. Code enforcement told me that. Personally, I think the residents of Ridley Park should be given the choice. Yes or no? If we are going to allow them, there needs to be a permit process, including submitting parking sketches, occupancy totals, etc. I don't know where we're going from here. It's too late to fix what's already happened. I guess I really just want to see a parking lot and a dumpster to make sure that we already have overcrowding in our neighborhood. And that's the only solution left. Thank you.
So I remember very vividly when that apartment complex, when the building construction was being done from the beginning, that there was requirement for parking. I am annoyed at the fact that every time you drive past there, if you're looking at the building, to the left of it, between the church and the building, there's cars parked up on the grass. I talked to Chief Thomas, if it's on the street, and we made rules, so they were all correct in this too. If it's on the street, the police can enforce it. If it's up on the grass, then it's an issue for code enforcement. If we don't have code enforcement that are actively out there, then there's nobody to enforce the code, and it's a mess. We don't park on the grass. We really park. That's not what we do. That's not what anybody maybe a meeting similar to what you did before, Mr. Mayor, might work, where we can get a bunch of residents. You know, you're coming, you're advocating, but get a bunch of folks from the street and try to give them a few of the scenarios that we have, possible fixes, and see what works best. Because we have to, you know, kind of make sure that everybody's, you know, I think, the meeting that you had was well attended, and everybody was kind of a part of it, versus maybe just one opinion. So we are working on it. I know it seems slow, it's a monotonous process, but they have done the street studies. I actually have them, 2 of them right here in my set of papers. So we are looking at them, we're checking them, we're making sure everything's good. But it's just a process, and we're trying to do it as quickly as we can.
Hickory Avenue going down towards the train station was always had, no parking this side.
Okay.
And I don't know where the sign went. And then you go up the hill to Hinckley, there's signs up there. You can't park this time, can't park that time, but yet the street is full of cars. So.
When you're coming towards the train station,
Yeah, go.
was it on the right or the left?
Right,
The right, okay.
yeah.
We can figure that out, because it's possible those signs went into disrepair over the years, and they just were never replaced,
Yeah,
potentially. When you look at some of the stop signs, you can tell. Some stuff needs to be updated, so we can definitely look into that as well. Yeah.
okay.
Now, you did add one stop sign.
Yes, we did have one stop sign. We went out, we did a little walking tour, similar, and, we had speed bumps out on Burke. The speed bumps, I think we ended up with half of one left. But we went out, we did a little kind of, survey of the neighbors, and we figured out where we wanted to put that stop sign, and we did put the stop sign in. It's about 3/4 of the way down the street. You're familiar with the street. People get their rev going, and they're going towards Chester Pike. We figured if you stop them about halfway-ish, then that would slow their momentum a little bit. Sandy's telling us that that's not slowing their momentum. I don't know if multiple stop signs is the answer to that. I have some other ideas that we probably could, you know, bring forward, but we have worked on this pretty soon.
Okay. How much did the, fireworks cost us for this year?
16,000. 20,000.
20,000? So, what do you think the grand total is? 50?
You mean of
a lot when we get down there, but we're getting there, and that's something we are actively working on.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Brian Riley, 112 Fulton Avenue. Over the weekend, first week, June, resident 120 Fulton decided to put up cones and a sign to the turnaround. That borough property, was part of the plans and drawings way back in the late
Medicare subsidies. Like if the hospitals take Medicare and such, I believe it falls in that category. So that's what I was gonna ask, since Raven, you are with the state rep's office, and it's a question about Pennsylvania, the state of Pennsylvania, possibly recovering, we could recover some legal fees. Could you look into that? I don't want to not recognize the attorney, I'm just trying to save money for starting. Would you mind?
Yeah, I could look into that.
Do you understand what I'm asking? Okay, I don't mean to be way out from the park, but I think it's worth looking into.
Yeah, absolutely, thank you very much.
Okay, the last thing, school taxes. I'm waiting for the bill to come in. Do we have an increase in?
We don't do school taxes.
Well, I know that we don't do school taxes, but didn't someone on council used to report on the school board meetings and kind of be aware, make us aware of what is going on? So I have another request, I don't know where it falls. But with the ongoing inflation of everyday cost of living, could the penalty of not meeting the tax payment deadlines either be reduced for the residents, at least if not eliminated for those who can provide hardship, their proof of hardship? Last minute tax increases sometimes don't coincide with salary, fixed income limits, raising a family, and just everyday life. It's too short of a time period to get the mail and say that in 60 days, your budget is now hit, nor, at what percent, we don't know. So I'm just kind of asking, I don't know, how you go about that.
Specific to the school tax?
Well, all
Tax.
taxes, but since the school tax is the next thing, New York, my family is fortunate enough to be able to meet, so-called, these, increases. And with the borough tax being lowered this year, which was such a plus, I thought, well, why not? Why not ask? Why not bring it up? Because if you're going to penalize the person, and I know you have payment plans, or the school has a payment plan, but you still you don't get the benefit of the 2%, reduction. So I guess I'm just trying to bring it up to find out if something can change at whatever level.
Thank you, yeah.
Thank you.
Look at that.
I'm so glad I just have to take that in my person.
I don't want to miss Andy's report. I'll be very quick.
Andy Farmer, 419 Palmer Street. Just a few questions. Emily, I don't know whether to address yourself. This has to do with the road program question. Ultimately going to be addressed to the borough engineer. But so if Aqua provided us with $190,000, the lowest bid is $247. It certainly looks on the surface that certain streets were added to the street program over and above, the streets that were torn up by Aqua.
Comment on that. They provided funding for, I believe, the immediate areas, the limits of construction were extended to.
Half of the street.
The full length of Hillside, for example, just because it made more sense for constructability. And then also extending it a little down Glenlock as well.
I see. So, in fact, what you're saying is no streets outside of Hillside and Glenlock have been added to the paving contract or the bid?
Yeah.
Okay. I just a comment on Cresswell Street. Mr. McGinley, thanks for, bringing that issue
I
up.
remember you brought that up.
Yeah, and, so Cresswell, I pretty much drive it every day, and most of the street somehow good shape. However, between Thayer and Mort, it's really torn up. So I don't think it'd be reason, after it's evaluated, I think one would agree that it's only that one block that really needs to be repaved. But, so it's between Thayer and Morton, and if PennDOT would be willing to do that, I think, which they should, because as Mr. McGinley mentioned earlier, the increased traffic, on that street as a result of East Ridley, being blocked off, it's probably the primary concern, or the primary reason that the street is in the condition that it is right now. So, anyway, I had a question about the fountain. Trish, you mentioned earlier that we're trying, you have a meeting on Friday regarding, getting a new motor, which sounds great, but it sounds to me, over the previous months, that the reason that the motor burned out in the first place was the shallowness of the lake, which isn't gonna change anytime soon. So, I'm wondering if there's some kind of plan to address that, or, to make this thing successful.
We had mentioned about the Growing Greener grant, hopefully it will do the study. I have to have someone, an expert coming out to look at the fountain, to see if he can provide a motor, which he did quote me on the price, but until looking at it, we can't move forward. Or even if it's worth more to us to look in the future, maybe next year budget for a new fountain, but I need him to come to the lake to see if it's even, because of the low, water level there and the sediment that's coming up when the fountain does start up. So it's more like an engineer type evaluation from this gentleman to find out the best way to
I see,
to get this repaired.
so there's no decision right now to go
No.
ahead with this new motor.
Now, first of all, I need a cost from him, and I need his expertise.
I see. Okay, thank you very much. And then lastly, Mr. McGinn, the alleyway, from Ladport, which you just mentioned tonight, that the borough, is possibly gonna be filling those potholes, so on and so forth. As a result, your words, as a result of purchasing or, accepting, that property, what's that, is that on, that's, where, Sellers Avenue, what's the address?
32 West.
32 West. Now that property sits on the very end, of this alleyway, and it's probably a good idea to improve the alleyway, but up until this point, I think the reason nothing's been done for the last 5 years, if not longer, is because the position by the borough has always been that it's private property, and that, the property owners own it up to the middle of the alleyway, and it's a shared responsibility by the owners, and all of a sudden, now, also, that's a little early,
Yeah, we're
maybe I was
recording.
late, but one thing, so, this was never mentioned when we were accepting this property, that all of a sudden, we're gonna be taking on this responsibility of maintaining the alleyway, of which we're located, we being the borough, on the very far end. So, I think a lot more discussion, needs to be done on this before we just jump into taking on this responsibility. Now, maybe the highway department can do something to reduce the cost, but, I don't know. So it's food for thought, and jumping into another expense item, unbudgeted, in the middle of the year, which is not the first time I brought that subject up, but, so I just want to bring it to your attention. And the rest of the council.
That's fine, but what if, through our findings, it is our responsibility?
Okay. Well, of course, that's a different story, but
So, it could be our responsibility all the way through.
so you mean, well, then that means that would be irrespective of us purchasing the property.
What do you mean?
Well, how would we increase our responsibility, the borough's responsibility, for the whole alleyway? Because we have accepted accepted a piece of property on the far end. How would that be?
So if it's a situation where through our findings, through our, reviewing documents and finding out things for this property, that we find out that the whole alleyway might be the responsibility of the boroughs, then it's our responsibility to make sure we take care of that property. It's something we didn't know in the past. So regardless of getting that property or not, we're probably gonna be on the hook to do that, and probably have been on the hook to do that.
Okay, well, that's a different story, but let's not, Mr. McGinley, in all due respect, I'm just going by what you stated 10 minutes ago.
I understand
Which
that.
was the fact that you led us to believe that because of taking on that property, we may now be responsible
Well, if I
for.
didn't exactly say that we're gonna fill potholes because now it's our responsibility, I apologize, but we're gonna fill potholes and we're probably gonna do more than that.
Oh, yeah? Well, I mean, you mean even if it isn't our responsibility?
If it's not our responsibility, then maybe we won't do it. So, I'm just saying, we're gonna make it look nice in that area. And maybe if we have to work with the property owners or something like that, we're still gonna make it look nice. Maybe that's our responsibility. That's the whole purpose of buying that area, is to make it look nice. Not to break the budget. We're already getting it really a decent price. So we're gonna try and make it look nice, and through the process of making it look nice, we might have to fill some potholes or put grass where there's stuff there. If it's responsibility of the property right there, then they'll do it. But we're gonna make it look nice.
Okay, well, you know that the reason that those potholes have existed for as long as they do is because the property owners on either side have refused, to.
So maybe there's a
maintain.
reason why they're refusing, and we're finding out now.
Okay, well, maybe. Okay, so.
I'm not trying to
further
fight with
discussion.
you, it's just, it's not like, I'm trying to just do it the right way. We're trying to do it properly. So it's not, I'm not trying to mislead any residents, I'm definitely not trying to mislead you. I'm just trying to say, if it's our responsibility, we're gonna have to do it one way or the other.
Right, well, like I said, and that's a different story.
Of course, but I'm just,
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, I'm Mike Gale, 51 Collier Circle. I feel compelled to report that I believe the previous administration has propagated an injustice on the taxpayers of Ridley Park Borough. Let me explain. The borough was awarded $741,826 in American Rescue Plan Act funds, known as ARPA funds, by the Biden administration. The intent was to help recover from the impact of COVID-19. This money was held in an ARPA fund account, separate from the general fund bank account. One condition of the ARPA funds required the borough to obligate the money by December 31st, 2024, and spend the money by December 31st, 2026. On December 17th, 2024, Borough Council approved resolution number 2024-17, which obligated the remaining ARPA funds in the specific amount of $218,731.09 for the Rosemont Bridge project. The footbridge needs major maintenance and repair. On the same day this resolution was passed, $218,000 was actually transferred from the ARPA fund account to the general fund account. A few months later, on April 30th, 2025, the borough filed a timely 2025 compliance report to the U.S. Treasury Department as required by law. The report indicated that all ARPA funds had been obligated and had been spent. Here's the issue. To date, no money has been spent on the Rosemont Bridge project, and the compliance report says all the ARPA funds have been spent. So where did this $218,000 go? To find out, I filled out a right-to-know request on February 19th of this year, asking for copies of invoices, receipts, purchase orders, or account payable information detailing where the $218,000 went. I was told on March 19th in a reply to right to know that no such records exist and the borough cannot account for the funds. How could this be? Where did the money go? I filed an appeal. The appeal appeal of right to know. I stated among other things in the appeal, I believe the borough must conduct an additional search for records to account for this spending to maintain public trust to satisfy the spirit of right to know law. On April 27, 26, I received a reply to my appeal. The reply included an attestation signed by the borough manager that stated an exhaustive search was conducted and that no records were found to account for this $218,000 expenditure. Where did the money go? I have minutes from December 17, 2024 council meeting which confirmed the vote to approve the resolution. I have a copy of the 2024-17 resolution titled Borough Reimbursement of Rosemont Bridge Funding, which authorized spending in the amount of $218,731.09. I have bank statements that confirm the transfer of this money from the ARPA fund to the general fund on the same day the resolution was approved by council. Notably, the general fund end-year balance in the bank statement was $219,951.43. Without the $218,731.09 ARPA fund transfer, the end-of-year balance in December 2024 would have been just $1,220.34. It's also noteworthy that on 12/23/24, $90,728.61 was transferred from the general fund to the liquid fuels fund. $31,000 of that was reimbursement of misappropriated funds resulting from two negative liquid fund account audits. So it looked like the general fund was in distress in December of 2024. I have the U.S. Treasury compliance report that I received by Right to Know. The compliance report confirms the borough spent all the ARPA funds. I believe this is a serious issue. In 2024, council voted to obligate the $218,000, but did not spend the money in the way they told the public they were going to. Instead, they transferred the money to the general fund. No money was spent on the bridge, and council told the federal government that all ARPA funds had been spent. The borough manager's attestation confirms the money was not spent on the bridge project, and further confirms that borough does not know where the money went. At best, this is negligence, and at worst, this is something more serious. Both are causes for grave concern. This discovery deserves a serious investigation by council. If the investigation corroborates my findings, then I believe you are obligated to fix this in a lawful manner. If the investigation finds the statements I made here tonight are in error, I would like a full explanation of which statements are incorrect and why. On behalf of all the taxpayers of Lake Park, I urge you to investigate this issue with priority and report to the public their findings. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
How you doing? Jim Henry, 400 Howard Road. First off, I just want to lead off with thank you for everything the council's been doing with the events. Every month, almost every week, there's something going on. It's awesome. I've been to a couple of them already. Fantastic job. Thanks for everything he's did, especially the recycling event. That was big for me. So, second, 408 Howard Road is getting a little bit overgrown. I almost don't want to complain about it because maybe they'll hide it and I won't have to see it. But it's starting to get overgrown pretty much with foliage and stuff like that. So maybe we can check on that. I brought up a couple months ago in a meeting about the parking in the borough for the business district. I don't know if there was any movement on that or anything on the signage. I missed the last couple meetings because of personal issues, but I don't know if you guys had discussed any more about relaxing the times or.
We're looking into signs. I'll take that as a drop because the EMS thing is all this.
Okay.
I know we know what we're looking for. Trish and I we're working as far as signage is concerned. We'll get back to that.
I know there's a lot going on with the bridge and all, but I figure when it opens, it'd be great just to, get something in place for people that want to come downtown.
That makes sense.
And that's about it. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
too, so I think we ought to get our agendas in and get Trish voted in.
I can't vote, sir.
I'm still 3-2 now. Just kidding, Andy, don't get upset, just kidding. I'm not.
You used to be by now.
Yeah. The code enforcement part, I know we're getting into July now, and everything is leading to the 4th of July. What time frame do you think we're gonna be on, or how soon? Because the summer's gonna be over, the lawns are just gonna keep running. But is there anything in the before the next meeting that can be done for code enforcement, whether it be you going out and giving a letter, or me, whatever it is? What can we do?
Absolutely. So like I mentioned earlier, it's definitely one of our top priorities right now to sort out exactly how we want to tackle the problem. I had earlier spoken to Councilor Boyce. I'm definitely hoping that we can get this handled in terms of what we're going to do and see if we can get something in the works to have it on the agenda for July. I don't know if that's too optimistic, but that's my goal for right now. So that we have that by the next meeting.
And she did ask Ryan for just like suggestion on
Yeah,
the
prices,
office,
details.
so that's one, yeah.
And then, like, Councilor Guerra mentioned earlier, we're looking at different options, so we're also looking at if, it's more cost effective and efficient for us in terms of, you know, the functions within the office and communication, to hire somebody in-house, part-time, to kind of do, like, field inspections and check out the borough regularly, that kind of thing. We're also keeping that in mind, so we're not locked into one specific option right now, exploring what would be best for us, but it's a major priority, and we will be looking to get that done as soon as possible.
Yeah, the other issue I've heard for the last 3, 4, 5 years is the library, the roof in the library, the flooding in the library. Does that cause a mold issue in the library? And if it does, with people, especially kids going in and out in the mold area, that could cause a lot of issues for the borough. If there's an issue with somebody getting sick because of the mold. And it just seems like it gets kicked down the road all the time. And where are we gonna be on that? Another year? I don't know.
That's actually, part of the last meeting I had with Trish, Kelly, our engineer, and our librarian, Katie. That was last week? Maybe? Yeah, recently, is to remediate the flooding issue. We do have, the money to do that. It was budgeted, we had 20,000 in the budget for that, in addition to a 10,000, gift, from the Carnegie Library Foundation. And so the next thing to do would just be, and I believe, Kelly, actually, you spoke to a potential contractor for that?
Yeah, I have a
Okay.
on that. I did meet on site with the contractor that had offered a quote to the library at one point. I reviewed some of the improvements they had listed in their quote. And I'm still working on a game plan to move forward because there's different things missing in their quote that would make the project comply with, borough public bidding laws such as the prevailing wage rates, for example. So I'm still looking at, developing a game plan on how to move forward to remediate the flooding issues within the budget.
Okay, the last issue, the EMS, we're talking about NARMA. So if I have a heart attack, where does the EMS come from, NARMA?
So, no, that's a good question. So Narberth is a provider of ALS service. So your regular ambulance would come from where it was dispatched. So locally, we have Tinicum, we have Norwood, we have Woodland, whoever was available. And then you have ALS that supplement them, depending on the call. So there is an ALS unit right now in Holmes. Ours will be in Norwood's firehouse. So they're like kind of regionally is where the ALS are. They're not coming from Narberth though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we would never let that happen.
It's not NARMA, so
I mean, I guess it could, if there's that many people out to a call, but this particular one is coming from Norwood. It's gonna be thousands, and that's where it was before, when it was Croziers, you know.
do we wanna start first with the amended action item?
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and do that. You might have to read the address, I'm so sorry.
So it's motion to approve, Motion to approve block party permit for 4th of July on Bel Air Road between West and, Wadsell.
So 1300, 1 o'clock.
1 PM to 11 PM.
Thank you very much. Alright, so, Counselor McGinley makes the motion.
Second.
Counselor Guerra seconds. Do I have any comments or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. And the motion carries. And then next up, we have a motion to approve June 16th, 2026, accounts payable in the amount of $430,745.59. Counselor Moran makes the motion. Counselor Guerra seconds. Do I have any comments or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. And the motion carries. Next up, we have a motion to approve ordinance 2026-1 intergovernmental EMS agreement. Counselor Guerra makes the motion. Counselor Moran seconds. Do I have any comments or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. And the motion carries. And then next up, we have a motion to approve resolution 2026-13, 32 West Sellers land donation. Do I have a maker for this motion? Counselor McGinley makes the motion. Counselor.
Skip one, it was that.
Counselor Boyd seconds. Do I have any comments or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. And the motion carries. Motion to authorize and direct the solicitor and manager to enter into an agreement on behalf of the Borough of Narberth as required by ordinance 2026-1.
Motion.
Counselor Guerra makes the motion. Counselor McGinley seconds. Do I have any comments or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. And the motion carries. And next up, we have a motion to approve resolution 2026-14 Growing Greener Plus Grant. Counselor McGinley makes the motion.
Second.
Counselor Guerra seconds. Do I have any comments or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. And the motion carries. And now we have a motion to award 2026 road program to Moore Brothers Enterprise in the amount of $247,075. Do I have a maker for this motion? Counselor McGinley makes the motion.
Second.
Counselor Guerra seconds. Do I have any comments or
I
questions?
just have one question.
Yeah.
For the road, you said there was 2 bids on this. What was the other bid by chance?
It was from AF Damon and Moore Brothers.
For Damon, how much were they?
So, for the least bid amount, for a portion of the hillside road section, Moore Brothers bid the amount of $105,680, and AF Damon bid in the amount of $138,715. For alternate number 1, which is the other portion of hillside, Moore Brothers bid in the amount of $87,025, and AF Damon bid in the amount of $121,270. And for alternate number 2, which included the Glenrock section, Moore Brothers bid in the amount of $54,370, and AF Damon bid in the amount of $67,520.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. And the motion carries. Next up, we have a motion to release $9,825 in escrow funds for 244 West Ridley Avenue. Do I have a maker for this motion? Counselor Moran makes the motion. All second. Do I have any comments or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. And the motion carries. Next up, we have a motion to approve Stiles Avenue 400 block party application for July 4th, 2026, from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. Do I have, Counselor McGinley makes the motion, Counselor Guerra seconds. Do I have any comments or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. use permit for the D-drummers to use the lower baseball field on June 28th, 2026, from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Council McGinley makes the motion. Council Boyd seconds. Do I have any comments or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. And the motion carries.